Hello everyone, welcome to another Green Dragons Gaming Club. Without us, they never feel like winners. Without them, we couldn't look so good. So today it's a small game and it's more or less a learning game. So I'm going to spend the time that I have now to actually talk about some of the tactics and the game that was played. So this is actually a 2,000 point game. So it's actually old style 1,000 points. My opponent today is my friend Chris, who's part of my gaming group of the overall larger gaming group that does War Machine and things like that. Star Wars, you name the game, we probably play it. Now, the thing with Chris is he was a big time Warhammer player, okay? Whether it be 40K, whether it be Warhammer Fantasy, all these old things. So, like me, he has tons of models for the older systems. He was really a Chaos player, and then he inherited a Skaven army, and I think he had another army too. So this time he actually turned around and he was reading through the Ninth Age stuff. He's like, you know what? I have some Dread Elf models. I think I'll do that. And he reached out to me, and we've been doing War Machine, and he's like, I want to try give this a try. So that's why we settled on 1,000 points, which is 2,000 points in the new system in 1.2. And all I can say is, here's someone who gave up on 8th edition. Okay, he wasn't having fun with 8th edition. He felt it was too clunky in terms of fantasy battles. He felt it was too overpowered in certain aspects. And it was his first real game where it wasn't one of the trial games that he and I played before, which is like less than 500 points. And at the end of this game, the two of us looked at each other and go, this was a lot of fun. He and I, and we're really good friends, have not had this much fun playing a fantasy style game in such a long time. And it felt great. So again, we're based out of Westchester. If you're in the area, do me a favor, reach out to me. That's northern Wilmington, Newark area, northeast Maryland, from Harrisburg over, Allentown over. Just reach out to me. Always happy to get a game in. We have a really diverse group with obviously different level of skills, and I'm really happy to show that. Now, if you're expecting to be watching a more experienced game, turn it off now. It's not going to be the episode for you, but I will definitely have more experience. And it's not saying Chris isn't experienced, it's just not experienced yet with Ninth Age or this army. So, as I said, he grabbed out his Dread Elves. I have no idea when Dread Elves became so popular, but they are, and I'm still playing my Dwarven holds. And his list is very interesting, and it actually mirrors, for this, considering the size, what Ryan plays. So it's actually, when I look at it for a 2,000 point list in version 1.2, it's going to be strong. And for someone who hasn't played the game in years, it has been years since he's played anywhere a decent sized game. And granted, it's only 1,000 points, but anywhere for a decent sized game. So I was very impressed. So let me go ahead and show you. So right now we have diagonal deployment and breakthrough as our scenarios. From his army list, going from left to right, he's got a unit of Dread Knights. He's got his Bolt Thrower. He's got auxiliaries. He's got a unit of 20 Spearmen, even though there's only 16 there. There are 4 empty bases. He's got my Blackguard are being used as executioners for him today. And then he's got another unit of 10 auxiliaries with a mage that knows 3 spells. On the Dwarven hold sides, I have Junior, aka Chucky Light, who's a Vengeance Seeker. I have my 10 handgunners that are guild crafted, so they ignore the distance. I have an organ gun fully kitted out, and then I've got my typical block of spear dwarves with a BSB and a runesmith. Now remember, I only have 1,000 points. Those were the characters I chose rather than doing the king. I chose the magic because, again, you need to have all 4 phases, in my opinion. And for Chris, whose primary army was Chaos, where Chaos doesn't have that much shooting, when he plays these Dark Elves, and this was his first time he ever touched his touch the army of Dark Elves. He's going, this was so much fun. Having all 4 phases, the movement that was intricate and yet simplified. A lot of this stuff was streamlined, so I didn't have to really go through stuff. For someone who hasn't done other than a couple of like less than 500 point games with me for the Ninth Age, he picked it up. He picked it up quick, and it was fun. So again, if you're looking to turn around and get that new player involved, or get that old player that has hesitations, try this. Go with the 1,000 points or less, or because again, 1,500, you're starting to bring out too many more toys. Okay, and stick with the basics. Let them get their teeth wet, and soak it in and enjoy it. So we started placing back and forth, and then finally I looked at them like, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drops to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drops. I want first turn. I dropped everything after I think I placed my Vengeance Seeker and my Handgunners, and that was it. I didn't place anything else, and then I placed the other 2 models, 2 units with characters. So I ended up getting first turn easily enough. And so Dwarves turn 1. Over here, unfortunately, I forgot to take a picture of movement. You'll see it in just a moment. My organ gun opened up, killed 4. So not a great turnout from the organ gun. However, there were only 15 Blackguard. So 4 is a panic test. They panic. So my handgunners killed 4 of the auxiliaries there. They passed their panic test. So now it's Dread Elves turn 1. So here's how the board looks. As I said, he panicked, and oh, I forgot I had a unit of Rangers that ended up on the far end of the board, and they're trying to make a beeline for his War Machine. So here's how the board looks at this point in time at top of his turn. And he's going, well, that was upsetting, but so he's not feeling too good at this point because this big, heavy, hard-hitting unit is now going in the wrong direction, and he doesn't know truly what he's going to do. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here going, I've got those knights to deal with. Other than my unit of spear dwarves, I don't have anything to truly take care of those knights, because those knights will eat Junior. Or Junior may take 1 or 2 of them with him, but that thing will eat Junior. And the handgunners won't hold up to those things. The spear elves, actually, because will be able to take out my handgunners. My spear dwarves should be able to eat the elves. And he's got me on range. His 2 units of shooting units have 24-inch, but really it's that bolt thrower. That bolt thrower has a 48-inch range. So I'm going, we'll see what happens. That's what's going through my head. That's why I didn't end up moving my Vengeance Seekers. I wanted to see what his reaction was, but I wanted that first turn because everything was in range. I wanted to open up. I wanted to get those shots off. So I have a -1 to hit on my spear dwarves, and that's all I got off. So this is the end of his movement phase. Of course, he rallies his executioners. He's coming around the corner with his dread knights. That's it. He tries to shoot his bolt thrower into my my rangers up the top of the screen there, and he doesn't even do a single wound because he needs 4s to hit, 4s to wound, and whatever he wounds, but it's only 6 shots, so that's three hits on average, and then that's followed by 1 to 2 wounds. And if he did do a wound, he did maybe 1 wound there. So now it's Dwarves turn 2. Here's a picture of the way the board looks. I tried to do a march test with the Rangers up at the top of the screen. I failed. The reason why I failed is the musician. The unit of elves, of the executioners, have a musician, and it's a -1 to my leadership for that new special rule that's go beat to the drum or whatever it's called. But basically, it's -1 to my leadership for trying to do a march test to get around them. I rolled a 9. That's a failure. Over in the middle of the board, again, I wasn't too concerned with anything, and so I moved Chucky in there just to try to give support to my spear block in case he tries to get his spears into the spear block, or if he tries to run up the gut with anything. This is a mistake on my part. As I look back at the screen, I probably should have moved him further back into the forest to try to bait him to draw his cavalry in there, but he didn't. I didn't, so it's a mistake on my part. During the shooting phase, because I think he stopped all my magic, I killed another 5 of the auxiliaries. I killed 3 of the spear elves there. So now it is elves' turn 2. He charged in with his spear. I'm sorry, I did get 2 spells off during my phase. I got a -1 to wound on Chucky Light, and you know what? I got a question for the boards. So it's a -1 to wound for Chucky Light, and a -1 to hit on my Spear Dwarves. So he charges in with his spears into my spears. Meanwhile, I have 2 characters and a buff on there. Probably would not have done that, but I understand why he did. Is he really, again, it's his first time using this list. He wants to see how it performs. He wants to see how it goes up against another core block. And for those of you who play dwarves, I know people like their graybeards. I don't, because I'm not a fan of immune to psychology for my play style. It's not that I dislike the unit. It doesn't fit my play style because being immune to psych means you can't flee. So it narrows your options. Where here, having spears, having that extra rank to attack with that rerollable to hit, you know what? I'm liking this combination. I'm digging it. With that consistent hatred, because again, I didn't bring a king, so I can actually now feasibly see me fielding a Thane as my general, having 2 runesmiths in my list, having the BSB, and going from there, because now you're right, I don't have hatred, but now I can have hatred anywhere I need it. Because I'd have 2 runesmiths, I can duplicate those spells. They're easy enough to get off, and my mind's going that way. I still like my king, my bigger list, but I can now see the way to get around that, and that's because of the streamlining the 9th Age has done in terms of characters. Now, the king, to me, is still better than a Thane, but the Thane is much more viable of an option. So he gets, so he charges in there. So there's a picture of that charge. During the magic phase, again, I had -1 to wound. He gets off he has divination, whatever spell that is, divine judgment, I think, which which wounds on 4s. But I have a spell that's -1 to wound. So that means it now wounds on 5s. If you know the answer, please post it here. Probably going to post it on the 9th Age questions. But please do me a favor and let me be aware. But he does 2 wounds to Junior there. Over here, he does he does 2 wounds to me during that close combat. I do 6 wounds. So he did 6. So I did. So right there is a difference of 4. He has 1 rank versus 3 ranks. So that's now a +6. He has a banner, but I have a banner plus a BSB, so that's now 7. He needed Snake Eyes to stay. So I'm going to end up pursuing, and he gets away. But look at the direction I'm pursuing in. I'm going right towards his mage. The reason why he angled it like that is if he had broken that unit of dwarves, he would have been going right towards my organ gun. So now it's dwarves turn 3. And let me go here first, since I forgot to take a picture. So we removed the hill that the one unit was on, and I failed to reach his. I rolled dismal. I rolled a 3. Okay, and had I rolled further, had I been closer, I probably would have charged his character. The reason why I didn't, and you know what, in retrospective, that was a mistake on my part. I should have, because that unit was below 25%. Would have been tough to have rallied them. But, as they say, hindsight's 2020. My reason I didn't charge his mage is it would have been a charge, he would have fled, and then I would have redirected into his spears, and they would have fled. Both would have been on the board. Both would have rallied the following turn. And meanwhile, my dwarves were going to get flanked by his executioners. Oh well, as I said, hindsight is 2020. So now to go back is my organ gun. Again, it was a poor showing. Did another 2 wounds. Not enough for a panic test. And that's it. Over there, my handgunners actually did shoot at his mage and the last remaining bowman. I did 2 hits on each, and I failed to wound on each. Correction, I wounded the mage, and he made his 5-up ward save. Dread Elves turn 3. So, he charges in with his executioners right into the dwarves, which I fully expected. He charged in with his knights right into the dwarves. And this is the way the board looks. Or right into Junior. Over here, same spell, boosted version. And there goes my phone. I do apologize to those listening. And let's see. So he charged in, or he does that same boosted version of that divination spell. Kills 5 of those dwarves right off the bat. Going owie. It had -2. Over here, I just moved them closer. I managed to put 1 or 2 wounds onto the war machine shooting at it. And during his turn, this is his turn, he put 1 wound onto my war machine. He shot, he hit, he rolled a 1 because it does D3 wounds. Over here, Junior killed one of his knights. Took 1 with him, but he did his 1 last remaining wound. And now we had the Spear Dwarves. So there's been some talk on the boards about losing the bonus. I'm all for the Dwarves getting that bonus that first round of combat. To me, it's very dwarfy. It's army-centric, okay? Where, hey, if I'm going to charge you, I'm getting a bonus strength because I don't have any of those units with lances. Other than the bears, I have nothing in the army with sides characters or great weapons that are going to be striking at strength above strength 4, unless I charge strength 5. I just don't. And the thing with great weapons, it's not so much they strike last. I mean, come on. I'm playing dwarves. I expect to go last. It's the shields. If you have great weapons, you're giving up that other advantage of shield wall. So again, he charged me. So with shield wall, because it's 6+ ward save when hitting the front, and or a 5+ ward save first round of combat when charged. That to me, it's such a strong combination. It's like it's beneficial if I charge. It's beneficial if I get charged, and I'm all for it because now all of a sudden this unit of dwarves is that much more dangerous. Because even being strength 4, they're more dangerous. So he charged in. I did a lot of my saves. I lost only 3 models to all his attacks, and he did a lot of hits and wounds versus 4 wounds back at him. Now, he did do one mistake with executioners, and this was his first time playing this army. So again, I'm cutting Chris a lot of slack. And he and I spoke after this combat. What he should have done is he should have had attacks go against the characters because they're doing 2 wounds each. As it stands, he failed to do that. However, he needed like a 5 to stick around, and whatever leadership test he needed, he made it. Actually, he rolled snake eyes. There are the dice right there. So now it's Dwarves turn 4. Here's how the board looks. I don't have much left. Okay, but I didn't start with much to begin with, so I am not down a lot of points. I'm down 120 points right now. Versus him who had his points more spread out, but he's lost a decent chunk. I managed to turn around, and during the shooting phase, Organ Gun finally earned its points and took out all 4 of his knights. Mind you, he needed 5s. And I rolled 8 wounds. He saved 4 of those wounds. So his dice got on, but so he was rolling above average, but just not enough to keep him alive. So there they are. They're now gone. And I made that charge into the war machine. I'm going, yes, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to kill the war machine. I need force wounded. I forgot that I hit automatically. So I'm actually still rolling to hit and then to wound. Had we done that, I actually would have killed it. But I screwed up. And in this close combat, he only killed another 2 of my dwarves, needing 3s to hit me and then 2s to wound me, and then I had the 6-up ward save. I saved 2 where I should have saved maybe 1, but again, the rest of the unit wiped out what he had. He still did the same mistake where he failed to go against the characters. He's like, you know what? I should have done it. You said to do it, and I forgot. So, Dread Elves, turn 4. So here's how the board looks at this point in time. And he turns around and gets that spell off again, killing another 5 of my dwarves. It's not that I didn't try to stop it. I did. I rolled dismal for my magic. Just dismal. You know, same number of dice. Advantages to me because I'm plus 2 or plus 3 total versus his plus 1 because I have brilliance on my runesmith. And it's just dismal. That's all I can say is just dismal. And he did get a charge. I'm going to go back to a quick picture. Up at the top, you can't see it too well. He did charge the flank of my rangers. So there's that. I think I did maybe 1 wound to him. And he turned around and I lost combat by too much. And they broke and ran and fled off the board. So unfortunately, I missed a picture of, during my turn, that mage. Oh, that mage. So, I've now shot it a couple different times during the shooting phase where it made its ward save. So, she has no wounds on her. I open with the organ gun. I get 19 shots, something ridiculously high. I hit her 7. I do literally about 7 wounds to her via the organ gun. She only fails. She's got a 5+ ward save. She only fails 2. I'm going, oh my God. I mean, Chris and I are laughing at this point. And it's like, yes, it's the Undying Mage. But the handgunners finally turned around, did 4 wounds, and he failed 1. But that's all I needed. I only needed 1 wound. But, oh my God. I mean, for having only a 5-up ward save, it earned its points, kept it alive. And really, it's what made it a game. His magic really made this a game. So during his shooting phase, he turned around, he killed another 3 of my dwarves, and now it's dwarf turn 5. So I had, because he had killed 3 of those dwarves, I needed a 9 rerollable, and I failed. I rolled a 10 twice. So they fled from his bolt thrower, causing the wounds. I'm going, crap. They rally easily enough with a 9. And that's it. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't have anything else to do. So it's Dread Elf's turn 5. He just moves around. Dwarves turn 6. I do 2 turns. So before my rangers did nothing, I do 2 wounds to him via shooting, and they stick around. I had charged into his spears with my spears. He killed 2. I killed 5, but I don't have many left. I only have 2 more, so now it's Dread Elf's turn 6, and I won combat, and he's stuck. So that's the way the board looks, and he ends up putting 4 wounds from his bolt thrower total onto my organ gun. And this is where, had he started shooting my organ gun turn 1 with his it's time for me to go somewhere. Had he shot my organ gun originally starting turn 1 with his bolt thrower, it would have been a very different game. My organ gun would have been removed from the game, so I still would have turned around and still caused some damage, but nothing like what it did. So the same way his magic kept him in the game, my organ gun kept me in the game. And granted, my spear dwarves helped, but that was really the tying factor. So he's going to get half points for that, for it being below 50% wounds. For that close, I have -1 to hit, did I have -1 to wound? No, I have -1 to hit and reroll my and hatred basically on him. So he turns around, kills my final 2 dwarves. My final 2. So he gets points for that entire unit, but I still won combat because even though he has a banner, I did 3 wounds and I still have my BSB. They don't break. They stick around. End result is actually a Dwarven holds victory 16-4. But this was such a fun game. And let me just go all the way back to the beginning, or just a few more slides. Bear with me just a quick moment. So here we go. So at this point in time, where we both had most of our armies, again, had he been taking his bolt thrower and shooting at the organ gun, advantage would have been his. Had he taken all his auxiliaries and shot at Junior, advantage would have been his. And kind of ignored the bigger block, which is still a lot of points, but it still would have been more to his advantage to have done so. And so right now, for someone who hasn't played, tactic-wise, knowing where to charge and everything else, no, Chris I think did a good job. Target priority in terms of shooting phase, which is a phase he's not used to. Remember, he is a chaos player, an old school chaos player. So I think that when he gets better with this list, he's really going to like what he sees and what he's able to do with this list. And it opens my eyes to see that the Dread Elves still can do a shooting style army and have the hand-to-hand to back it up. Executioners, if you're playing Dread Elves, they're golden. I mean, they are liquid gold. Throw a monster or 2 in there, and he has himself an even harder hitting list. Maybe try to fit in a BSB or something along those lines, one of those other toys. But really, all you need, if we go up to 1,500, which would be 3,000 points, throw in a monster, throw in a BSB, throw in, I don't even know what else he may throw in. But yeah, he definitely, he's got a great start. So as I said, it's going to be 16-4. Now, for the MVPs, in my opinion, and again, this is my opinion, his Spear Elves. Spear Elves charged in, broke, fled, stuck around, and eventually got him all those Spear Dwarves. He only had 2, so I didn't get the points for that unit. He only had 2. The other toss-up, and I really thought about this, was his Mage. Because his Mage, and I probably should have made it his Mage, his Mage is what made it a game. And where I was starting to run away with it due to my shooting, because of his magic, the points he had invested in magic, Chris, job well done. For me, Spear Dwarfs. Hands down. They took out auxiliaries. My shooting took out a unit of auxiliaries. They took out the executioners. They took out majority of the spears. They were the force to be reckoned with. They would have been able to take out his Cold One Knights. So for there, I'm very happy with the Spear Dwarves. Again, coming out of core, yeah, they're not Greybeards. I don't care. For me, having the simple unit of marksman to try to clear away chaff, and being accurate, like, alright, you're right, I don't get the +1 to hit, in which case I would have needed 5s, then 4s. Oh well, c'est la vie. I don't count one of the negatives anymore, so I don't care. It's okay, so I need 4s to hit you now from a great distance. For the same amount of points, I'm indifferent because honestly, if they're within 12 inches of me, and I'm doing something wrong, and that unit is going to be in close combat soon enough. Um, let's see. The that's really all I can say. The Dwarven BSB, the Thane build is definitely a viable option. I'm going to do a little bit more looking into that. And that's it. So please feel free to post your comments, questions, concerns on the site or on the blog. Greatly appreciate all input. And that's it. Until next time, thank you.